Hey, Downtown Brown is going on tour starting June 15th, 2022. We're doing 10 days on the East Coast. Some of the dates are with HR of Bad Brains. And one of the dates is at Skatopia with Pears. Check it out, dtbmusic.com for tickets, yo! Hey everyone, this is Neil Patterson. I'm a dude, and I'm here with, I believe it's episode 83 of my internet program called SUPcast, as in What's Upcast. And I'm here today with the legendary drummer dude, Mr. John Steward, aka Wet Daddy of the band Fishbone. And we're gonna do a thing where he talks and I talk, and we have a conversation, and we're doing it. What's up, man?
What's up, Neil?
I'm just in Michigan.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm alive. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Staying busy. You know, not much time to indulge in all my toys and my hobbies, but other than that, I can't complain. How about yourself?
Staying busy, you know, working the part-time gigs and then doing the band thing, trying to stay busy with that. We're about to go out in June, do an East Coast run, yada, yada.
Right on.
Yeah, trying to keep the dream alive out here.
You know, just as long as you don't let it become a nightmare, you'll be all right.
I mean, there are days where it was nightmarish, but I'm feeling pretty grateful nowadays for the things I got, you know?
Right.
And that's a perspective that came in with the pandemic and all that, like when it all went away.
Yeah.
Because I don't think y'all did anything during the pandemic, right?
Well, I wasn't really involved with the band during that time. You know, I took a 5-year. I left the band at the end of 2016, and then I got reinstated slash drafted back into the Fishbone Army, or becoming a Fishbone soldier, which is, you know, pretty cool. And also I was stoked when I got the phone call for that. So, but during the pandemic, wasn't really much going on across the board. My little side gigs that I was doing around here in town, everything just shut down.
Yep.
Which, you know, outside of me not being able to go to the beach and all that stuff, I was fine with it. Prior to the pandemic, I had stopped the bar life, you know, so I didn't miss out on anything like that. And usually my time out at night was when I had a little gig or something. That was my night out, you know.
Yeah.
Prior to the pandemic, other than that, I just stayed home and practice and, you know, try to work out or whatever.
So you kept pretty busy when everything was locked down out there?
I tried to, you know, just kind of turn my attention to some other things, and mainly focusing on myself and trying to better myself. You know, I need to do a little house cleaning and tone down some of my habits, utilizing my time more productively. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, it's kind of not easy to do sometimes. You know, you get into modes and you have to break out of certain habits and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I also realized that, you know, I was swaying away from the things that I'd like to do. Like, you know, I wasn't spending a lot of time surfing anymore and bike riding. And a lot of my friends I kind of pushed to the side because, you know, I don't mind having some beverages, you know, as you know, it's no secret to the world that knows me. But that can't be the all, you know. Yeah, let's go out and have some activity. Let's go bike riding. Let's go surfing or whatever. And then at the end of the day, stop and have a couple. You know, that's cool. But let that be the main activity. Oh, we're going to go to the bar and hang out, and then we're going to go do this. No, we're not. We're going to go to the bar and hang out, and then we're not going to feel like doing anything.
Right. I feel that. I've been there, man.
Yeah, you know, so kind of had to push that stuff to the side. And since we didn't have the total lockdown where everybody was locked inside their homes, and couldn't go out. There just weren't any businesses or anything open. So I was still able to get out and go ride my bike.
Yeah, when we were in Long Beach, Allie and I would go for long walks every day. That was our thing. We'd walk down to the beach and back. Because we were in Long Beach, on the west side, like right by the LA River, but by that bike path. So that would be our thing. Every day we would just like hang out and then we'd do our walk. And we were able to go outside. So that was a saving grace.
Right.
But no music, man. No gigs. That shit drove me fucking nuts.
Yeah. Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a home, and I have a garage where I have my stuff set up. So it didn't stop being. That's one thing I did do. I started practicing a lot more because there wasn't really much else I could do, and what I was fine with because I didn't have any of the distractions.
Yeah. So do you think
you have to worry about?
Do you think your chops improved during the pandemic, during the lockdown?
Yeah, they did. I got bored with the stuff that I was used that was my comfort zone. So to keep it interesting, I started venturing out in different music genres like Afro-Cuban beats and even some digging in a little bit more on the reggae stuff also.
Hell yeah. So when did Norwood call you about the Fishbone gig, and how did that go down, or what can you tell me about that?
Well, the funniest thing, I last year, about a year now, I made a lifelong bucket list purchase. I finally got me my own dirt bike. Bought me a YZ250F. I used to ride a lot when I was younger. I didn't really race. I've been in some races, but I won't say I used to race, but I definitely used to ride a lot.
Right.
And I've always wanted to get myself another dirt bike. And every time I was getting ready to get one, there was always other priorities, do you want a dirt bike or do you need a new car? Get you a new car. You need a dirt bike or do you need a new drum set? No, you need a drum set.
Yeah.
Dirt bike or do you think you need a security deposit for first and last month's rent?
Right. Real life shit.
Real, grown up shit.
Right.
Being an adult. And so I was coming up from San Diego with my bike in tow down there at my girl's house on my way to the track, and Norwood gives me a call. And I was under the assumption that he was returning a previous call that I had made to him about, some stuff that him and I were involved in musically.
Yeah.
And he asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm on my way to the track, man. I'm about to go get me some laps in. And he goes, well, be careful. Normally Nora would be like, well, right on, man. Have fun,
Right.
Have a good time, He says, be careful. And so I'm like, well, yeah, that's the plan. And then, no, man, I'm going to go out here and fuck myself up, says no one. And so he told me, man, well, what I'm getting ready to say to you, you got to keep to yourself. I was like, oh, shit. And he goes, the drum seat in Fishbone is open. I was like, man, no, fuck, goddamn Norwood. What the fuck happened, man? What's going on with your brother? So he went in and told me about everything that was that transpired and why it was. And I said, like, wait a minute. You guys have a show and your tour starts next week in San Diego. He goes, yeah. I'm like, well, I had every plan. I was coming down. I was planning on coming down and hanging out, man. Well, look like you're going to be there. So he asked me. He pretty much told me. And when I departed from the band and Fish was down for coming back and remaining during my half attempt of reconciling my decision to leave the band, because I didn't want to leave the guys hanging,
Yeah.
And, it's not, everybody can play that stuff. Right. So when he told me that Fish was down to keep it, I said, well, all right, cool. Good. That's good to know. And I said, I used to tease Fish. I'm like, man, I'm just keeping the seat warm for you, bro. Years I was in the band. And so I also said, though, well, man, with Fish, that schedule being what it is, because, the guy's playing Justin Timberlake and Everlast and whoever else, And I could see there would be a conflict in scheduling, possibly with the band. So I just said, man, if you ever get yourselves in a bind or something, don't hesitate to call me, Well, I guess I was in a bind. So yeah, we started rehearsing, and fortunately, my chops hadn't diminished, and mainly my stamina hadn't diminished. So I was still able to keep up. And I haven't yet actually just recently. I was back in December. Back in November. And the thing that was crazy about it, because prior to that, like for the past, ever since I left the band, I was out of the band I left the band 5 years. I wasn't in the band. But I would have these dreams of me being at a gig, hanging out with everybody, and Dirty Walt. The hell you standing around for? Get your ass on them damn drums. I'm dude, where the fuck's your brother?
Right.
And just these different scenarios, same dreams, but different scenarios. And the day that he called me was exactly to the date 5 years of my last show with the band when we played the Apollo Theater.
Oh, shit.
Exactly 5 years on the day of our last show is when he called me. So the dreams and this. So I'm at the track now. By this time, I'm trying to get to the track. And we're talking, and I'm asking about all the specifics and statistics of the tour coming up and all that. And I go, yeah, okay, I'm down. The track, there's nobody. There's maybe 5 guys out at the track, at the facility. And I'm sitting in the parking lot, getting ready to pull up to the gate. And I'm just like, you know what? This would be the day. Bust your ass.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because there's nobody out here. There's no, there's no obstructions. You got the tracks pretty much to yourself. And I can see you opening it up a little bit and something happening. I did about maybe 4 laps in the parking lot as far as taking off from the facility, going to the main highway, looking at the track, turning around, going back, looking at people ride. I did that about 5 times. And I said, you know what, dude? Take your ass home and go practice.
That's smart. Because I was listening to, there's a podcast, the dudes in the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
Okay, it's a funny show. But anyway, the one of the dudes was skiing. And he told himself, I'm going to do one last run down the mountain. And someone said, good luck or some shit. And he ended up breaking his arm because there's something to do with that last run.
That comes for me snowboarding also. Usually what happens when I ate shit snowboarding, always the last run. Okay, I'm going to do one more.
Yeah.
Don't do one more. Don't say it to yourself. Just that last run, before you say the last run, let that be your last run. That last run is the one that always gets you. It's just I don't know why that is, but everybody that I've known that's eating shit in any kind of extreme activity, be it snowboarding, skateboarding, motocross, BMX, surfing, same thing has happened to me surfing. All right, well, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take this wave in, and that wave, or get that bump, that wave of the day, and go paddle back out and say, I'm going to get one more. And that's when I usually get my ass handed to me.
Right. Now, when you're surfing and you get taken under, is it like a punch to the gut? I've never been out on the water like that.
Dude, you get taken under, it's like, especially if it's big, it's like somebody threw you in a washing machine.
Oh, shit.
You're just over end, over end, over end, over end.
So how long you been surfing, man?
I was saying the same thing like I say about drumming, long enough where I should be a lot better at it. But I started surfing about 20 years ago. No, maybe longer than that. Because I've always like been a skater. And from the 70s. And unfortunately, though, where I lived at that time, too open to diversity in the water at the beach close to my house.
What city was this?
This is Manhattan Beach.
Is that Orange County?
But so Hermosa and Manhattan Beach were my local beaches, were like maybe 7 miles, 6 miles from me.
Yeah.
And they weren't too welcoming. And at the time, my friends were like, we're all the same age, friends that surfed. They didn't look like me, of course.
Right.
They didn't have like the older brothers or the big homies that have our back. So when I would get out in the water, man, I would just get a bunch of racial shit, And I'm like, what, 13, 12, and I got these 20-year-old guys giving me shit. So it kind of deterred me from surfing.
That sucks.
But I kept skating. And then later on, I started snowboarding. And so the band, Fishbone, went to Hawaii. And we were in Waikiki. And I'm like, fucking, I'm going to go surfing. I'm going to try it. And got one of those long 10-foot logs they have for rentals at Waikiki Beach. And it was just the mechanics of it was kind of what was holding me back. But once I got on the board and was riding, I was good. It was just like snowboarding and skating. I had the mechanics on that, but just the wave knowledge and knowing how to pop up and when to pop up. So when I got back home at that time, I was probably 38, maybe 37. And I was living in Huntington Beach at the time with my girlfriend at the time. And so I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to go buy me a surfboard. So I went down Main Street, Rock and Fade, rest in peace. And I bought a 7.3 performance board, which is a short board. And I got it because I wanted to be cool with a short board. And I had an airbrush of Jimi Hendrix on it.
Nice.
And I should have gotten me like a 9.0, like a 9-footer or an 8 something, because I was a beginner. So basically, I got that thing, and my learning curve was extended a lot longer due to the fact. And I'd paddle out on that thing, and everybody was like, well, let's sit back and watch this. This is going to be fucking good. And one guy, no one ever said anything, gave me any pointers, anything. One guy paddled up on me and said, hey, bro, how you doing? How long you been surfing? I said, like, about, 2 hours. And he says, do yourself a favor, keep your knees together and scoot up on the board. Because I'm paddling and the board is out the water like this, which is definitely kind of a kook. Flailing and shit. So I got my first wave right off of 7th Street in Huntington Beach. One day on that board, I did everything right. Shit. There we go. I did everything right. I popped up once I got to my feet, I got a nice left. It was just like skating a drainage ditch or snowboarding the side of a mountain. I didn't catch another wave until a month and a half later.
Wow.
So definitely the hardest sport I ever attempted.
Well, there had to have been something that hooked you getting that wave so early on, because if it hooked you, you waited a whole month to get another one. That's wild. That's perseverance.
Well, I didn't wait. Just I was going because I lived at that time. I was a bike ride from the beach. Then I was like maybe 4 blocks from the beach. So that's what I would do. I would get up, do my push-ups and all the conditioning, and started diving into getting surf DVDs and all that stuff, watching. And I was just determined to do it because I love the water and I love to swim anyway. I love the ocean. And then the day when they all clicked, I bought me another board. I bought a bigger board. That's what happened. I bought me a bigger board. And that helped. I bought a 7/8 fun board. And that's when it all clicked. And I've been going ever since. Been fortunate enough to surf Hawaii several times. I've surfed Australia on the Golden Coast, up and down the California coast. Yeah, I dig it. North Carolina, Florida.
Would you consider it like a healthy addiction? Like when you actually pop up and you catch a wave, is the exhilaration like a high that you think people chase?
Yes. I get so bummed, like even now, because I just started back after my knee surgery. I mean, I've been trying throughout the years after my knee surgery, but just recently I went surfing, got me a wetsuit that'll fit my big ass when I put on a few pounds. But I've gotten back in the water, and my last surf session out of the 5 waves I caught, I rode 4 of them. And the stoke is back. And I'm just like, yep. It's just like riding a bicycle. But there is a certain amount of physical conditioning that one must maintain to do it. And you could do push-ups and jog and do all this other kind of stuff, but nothing is going to get you prepared for that except getting in the water. You have to get out there.
And so is stoke the stoke? Is that like a surfing term? Because I say stoked all the time. Is that a surfing thing?
That's a surfing skateboard thing, yeah.
Okay, and define that for me because I'm curious.
Stoked just means exhilarating, excited.
Okay.
Euphoric feeling that you get from doing something, happy. Just like, I'm really happy to be doing this. I'm really excited that I got a chance to, I was so stoked that I played with so-and-so,
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm using the term correctly. Well, now when you're actually on top of the wave and you're riding the wave, like what's going through your mind because I don't know anything about fucking surfing. Like I've been in flow state before, but usually it's just while I'm playing music, I haven't done a whole lot of physical stuff where I'm like, except when I do yoga. When I do yoga, I get into this mindless kind of flow thing. But how would you describe it?
It's like riding a cloud, man. It feels like, it's the same feeling that I get with snowboarding and powder.
Yeah.
But while you're doing it, you're reading the waves and feeling the energy of where you need to place yourself on the board. Sometimes you need to lighten your foot on the tail end, move it up a little bit and put more emphasis on your front foot than your back foot. And it also depends on the wave. There's a lot of things, a lot of factors you have to take into consideration. And depending on the wave, you have some waves that are kind of rollers that get to a certain point and they peak, and then you just ride it. Then you get the ones that start barreling and they peak and they jack up fast. So it depends on the wave. But mainly it's just like, hopefully, maybe I should have waited because, if you have sets that come in, if you're not really proficient on popping up and getting to your feet, you don't want to wipe out on that first wave of a 3-wave set. Because if you wipe out, you got 2 or 3 more waves behind you.
Oh, geez.
That are going to be crashing on you because now you're in the impact zone. And meanwhile, you're trying to paddle back out past the braking line. They call it the lineup to wait your turn. But meanwhile, you can get on the inside, get caught in the inside, man. And it could it's one of those things that can make the difference of a great surf session and a bad one. And you're just getting pummeled.
Yeah, like one right after the other.
One right out of another, breaking on you.
Jeez.
In the washing machine.
And you're under there the whole time.
You're underwater, and you got to be able to hold your breath and not panic And hopefully you don't get disillusioned where you forget sometimes because you get turned around so much, you won't know which way is up or down. There's been times where I call myself swimming to the surface and I touch the bottom.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
like, holy, now I'm almost out of air, you know? And then you pop up, you finally get to the surface, and you go to take that big breath of air, and then this other wave is crashing on you. You go through the process all fucking over.
Oh, man. That sounds terrifying, dude.
Terrifying. There's been times, man, I've been in situations where I've thought, okay, so this is it. This is how you're going, huh?
Yeah.
I've been in some gnarly situations. The leash broke on the surfboard one time. I was down in San Diego. It's like a 5 to 7 foot day. And I had to swim in. And it was rough trying to get in. And this is when I was in shape. You know, it was rough trying to get in. And I put my legs down and thinking that I was close enough to shore to stand, and I wasn't. So I'm still trying to swim in. And each time that I would drop my legs to see if I was to touch bottom, it was harder for me to get my legs back up.
Yeah.
And I was just exhausted. And that was one of those times like, fuck, man, this is going to be it. And my last attempt, I touched the bottom and I stood up and I was fucking in waist deep water.
Beautiful. Good. Goddamn. Yeah, the only time I've ever had that thought, this is it, was when we were on tour in the winter back in 2010 and we flipped the van on the highway. But
ooh.
Yeah, that was terrifying. But luckily we were only going like 50 miles an hour and everyone was fine.
Only 50 miles an hour.
Well, we slid like a fucking sled on the snow. We were upside down and we kind of just like we slid on top of the van. We flipped over into the ditch and then the van just kept moving kind of like a sled, you know? And then we stopped and the van was total, but all the gear was fine and we were fine. So we were really lucky. But as it was flipping and I was driving, I was like, this is it. I'm going to die. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I've had that experience, not on tour, but when I was younger in my early 20s, I had this badass, my first car was a 68 VW Squareback. Tomato red, slightly lower. The thing was badass. Bought it myself. And that crazy-ass girlfriend, and the bitch caught herself being funny and grabbed the steering wheel.
Dude.
And fucking rolled the car.
Jesus.
Car went on 2 wheels. I had it for a second. And right when the impulse came to me to turn the wheel the other way to bring the car down, it went up on the side panel. And it's sliding on the doors. And then it fell on the top. And that same feeling you're talking about, like sledding. And it slid right into a parked car. Bam! And luckily, I managed to get out of there with maybe just having to have 2 stitches in my head right here. That was it. The guy that was house across the street, sitting out, looking out the window, told the police it looked like I was trying to show off for my girlfriend that I can show her that I can drive on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
No.
That's not.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
So how long did that relationship last after that?
My dumb ass a little bit longer than she started fucking my best friend. Yeah. That was it.
I've been there, man. Yeah. Even after something. Well, there's women that stay with me after I did really shitty shit. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah. It happens. Part of life, kind of growing, living.
Yep, learning.
I'm not the first one, and I wasn't the first one, and I'm sure I haven't been the last.
This is true. Yeah, was that on like a highway or that was on like a side street?
It was on a residential street.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yikes.
But as far as touring, we were going through the Sierras, and we had this tour manager, and he was an ex-army sergeant or something. And I'm always like, man, slow down, or stop traveling so close to the vehicles in front of you. And I'm constantly told to shut up. You know, shut up, let that man drive. shut up, stop trying to tell somebody what to do. I'm like, all right. So I lay down. On my bench. And next you know, I wake up and I just see this van spinning. Fortunate for us, we spinned off the road. The trailer was hanging off the side of the road, and there was a tree right there, but there was a sheer fucking cliffside.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And we got out the van calmly, and I just said, don't you motherfuckers ever tell me to shut up again when I'm trying to give somebody a little advice. You know, this road is snow on the road. It wasn't snowing, but it's snow on the road, and there's ice on the road. And you don't know what you're going to hit, snow or a patch of ice. You just don't drive that fast on these conditions.
Hell no. In the mountains with the altitude, fuck that, man.
Yeah.
With the trailer?
This local guy is coming up the road, and he's got like this 4x4, and he got this winch on the front of it. And he sees us. He goes, hee-haw. So here we are. We got our black asses standing on the side of the road, man, up in this fucking Sierras, going over the Donner Pass, I think it was. You know? He's like, hee-haw, I guess you boys need a little hand here, don't you?
Oh, Jesus.
So he pulled us out. We paid him, you know. Yeah. I've heard so many terrible stories. One of the original tour managers for Fishbone, it was like maybe 8 years ago now. You know Fedge, I think.
Maybe.
You might have met,
I know of him. I maybe met him. I don't know.
Well, he was in a horrific van crash also. Said he was asleep and he woke up and he was bouncing down the highway at 50 miles an hour.
Like his body?
Like his body, his physical body.
Like he got thrown from the vehicle.
Bouncing down the fucking highway.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's doing great now. He still works at the band, periodic here and there. He's doing fine. He survived it.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't really know unless you're actually working for a band, that these tour managers, a lot of times they're doing all the driving and they're working merch. They're like doing 5 different fucking jobs and they sleep like 2 hours a night. This shit, it's just a lot, especially if you have a small crew, you know? Jesus, man.
And that's why I'm a firm believer as well in, you know, that I know on sometimes it can't be helped, but that rushing to get somewhere, because people want to get to a certain town because they have friends or family and they want to kick it and all that. You know, after you just did like, you know, a 13, 14-hour drive and did a show and all that stuff, you want to forego your hotel rooms because people want to get somewhere the next day. And it's mainly the people that don't have to worry about driving are the ones, oh, no, let's just hurry up and just get where we're going. No, got to get your sleep, man. Got to get your rest.
It's important. And especially after that accident, I didn't even speed to begin with. Like when we were touring all the time, I would always go the speed limit, but even like that solidified it. Like I'm not in a hurry to get fucking anywhere. I'm going to hug the right lane. I'm going to go the fucking speed limit. I'm going to let people pass me on the left. I'm like, we can't be in a hurry because if you play a show and you're all fucking tired, what are you going to do? Drive through the night? Unless you got a driver that's sleeping during the day, the shit, you're just asking for trouble, man. Like all of this like drive cram sessions and speeding and tailgating people and changing lanes. It's like, if you're pulling a trailer, just take it easy, man. Fuck. I'm not with it.
I tell that to a lot of my friends too and family. They go, well, won't you get a real job? I'm like, dude, sometimes I wish that I'd had a so quote unquote real job that all you have to do is just get up, go to work, do the same damn thing, come home, and you know you have a paycheck at the end of the week. If you think for 1 minute touring in a rock band or any sort of band, you know, is easy, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Sadly mistaken. That AC/DC song is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Hey, man, I've been listening to that song since 13, 14 years old, and my dumb ass said, fucking sign me up. I want to do it. But it's true, man. It's hard.
Fucking A. So what year did you start drumming for Fishbone? It was like the early 2000s, right?
No, I started drumming for Fishbone like in 97.
Holy shit. So how many years did you put in before you... Go ahead.
And the thing that's so crazy, I won't say crazy, it was almost kind of the same scenario. Fish left the band in 97. My band at the time, Super Rig had imploded. And the key songwriters in that band started putting something else together. Fish left the band. And prior to that, Norwood has been calling me and talking to me and asking me to get some double pedals. And I'm like, well, I don't play double pedals. And he goes, well, you might want to get you some double pedals. I was a bike courier at the time. And I'm like, spend money on double pedals when I don't play them, So he finally convinced me to do this. So I went and bought some. Fish left the band. Norwood told me the same thing. Well, the drum seat is open in Fishbone. And I go, yeah, man, I know a couple of guys. And he goes, no, fool you. I'm like, dude, I can't play that shit, man. He goes, yes, you can. Now, mind you, Super 8 had toured opening for Fishbone to support during Give a Monkey a Brain.
Yeah.
So I'd seen the band live and saw what Fish was putting down. And I said, man, I can't play that shit. My closest thing to reggae at that time was the Police, because I wasn't really a big fan of reggae.
Right.
I was the beats, but not the music. So they rehearsed me and they were recording Psychotic Friends Network at the time. And while they were in the studio, while they were recording, they had dates. They had prior obligations. So I would go off and do those. So I wasn't officially in the band. And that was in 97. And I did a couple of sporadic TV appearances with them as well.
Yeah.
But they were open. They were still checking out different drummers. So they got this guy, Dion. They got Dion Murdoch from Mother's Finest via Spacey T. And they had him for like maybe, I think 6, maybe 7 months. And then Norwood hit me up again. So I've been playing with the band since 97, but was officially in the band 99 on until 2016.
Okay, how many years is that? I'm bad at math.
Of all the
well, from 99 to 2016, that's... Like,
that'd be 17 years, and you put the other 2 years in there by 18, give or take. I just say 20 because it just sounds better to me.
Yeah. Fucking A. So when Norwood, was it because they didn't get along with this other dude? Why they offered you the permanent position? That happened in 99. Like, how did that conversation go?
It never, well, when they got Dion, and Dion bailed, and then I did some more shows with him, and Norwood had pumped me up that I was going to do this next run with them, and they took this other drummer out. And I was kind of saddened and also kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I told my job that I was out of here. Luckily, I didn't tell nobody to kiss my ass or anything. And then found out they're taking this other drummer, and I'm just like, okay, well, damn, dude, when were you going to tell me this? So they did that tour, and I heard it was like I think they were doing a tour with Maceo Parker. And from the mouths of the other guys in the band, when they got back, they were like giving me shit, like, where the fuck were you, man? And where the hell did you have your ass? I'm like, hey, man, talk to your boy over there.
Right.
So when it came down to the next thing they had going, I was kind of nonchalant, like, yeah, whatever. And then Norwood said, look, man, you have the gig, man. You are the drummer for Fishbone now. And I go, well, dude, when were you going to tell me this? because I didn't want to get much, invest a lot of time and energy into going to rehearsals and all this other stuff just for you to go grab some other guy again. So I was just half-hearted, like, I can't make this rehearsal. Nope, not available, And so he called me and was asking, like, what's going on with you? I'm like, not expressed my feelings about the whole thing. He said, dude, you have the gig, man. You are the guy. And I'm like, well, that's good to know. Glad somebody let me know.
Yeah,
and,
fucking A.
And the rest of this, as they say, is history,
Yeah, I've been in that position before where I was supposed to do a run with this band as the singer, and they had already asked the guy, and they said they were going to fire that guy, but then they ended up doing the run with him, and then I ended up working for the band. So I had to watch this guy on stage every night when I was supposed to be my gig. So it was kind of weird. This is recently. And then I end up joining that band, and then it was a terrible fucking mess. But I got to do some cool shit. I got to travel all over the place. So
yeah, I actually texted for Fishbone one time, man. They didn't have Fishbone playing drum. This other guy, James Gray, who was kind of like a prodigy of Fish, and he was very well in the camp.
Yeah.
And so there was like a toss-up between James and myself. Like, James was very fluent in the reggae stuff, but he wasn't a rocker. And vice versa, So Norwood wanted me to do this tour, and the plan was, like, James would play, like, the reggae-infused songs, and I'll play the rock songs. And I would drum tech as well. Well, I just wound up drum teching and doing all that stuff. But it was still good for you to get a chance to watch James do the stuff and see how he put a swing, what he did, and how to do it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was when that whole thing with I was just like not interested too much as far as investing a lot of time and energy in trying to solidify my position.
So as far as the type of music that you were playing in your other bands and the type of music that you'd been practicing before you started fucking around with Fishbone, like it was a different style. Like you had to learn new styles of music in order to play for them, correct?
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of ska or reggae. I didn't really know much about it. Didn't really care for it. I kind of gained an appreciation for it when I started diving into it, learning the difficulties of it, of an off-camera physical element that one had to possess to do it. I'm like, I'm a rocker. My band Super 8 was more like on the grunge end of things, of the Seattle stuff. It wasn't from Seattle, but it was along those lines, like Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam-ish kind of stuff, the stuff that was happening in the early to mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing, like, the usual, James Brown, Sly and Family Stone, whatever the popular funk R&B things were at the time. Very into Led Zeppelin, hence the John Bonham, heavily influenced by John Bonham and Mitch Mitchell and, the big band jazz drummers like Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. I love Ian Pace from Deep Purple, Keith Moon, Ginger Baker, I love all that stuff. That was the stuff I was really on and into. And even during the 80s, the hair bands, I took a liking to a couple of drummers during that era. Like Tommy Aldridge, although I like Tommy Aldridge from his Pat Travers days. But basically, overall, I was a rocker. I'm a rock drummer.
Yeah.
A rock drummer with no hair.
Well, that's the cool thing about Fishbone is that they incorporate so many different elements of music. So they're not like just a reggae band or a ska band. There are those elements, but you're probably able to fit in very easily with the punk stuff and the funk stuff and the rock stuff, So you just had to learn like a couple things, right?
Yeah. That was one of the things that when I gained and fell in love with Fishbone, because I never knew of the rock stuff until we started touring. Like, they were friends of Super 8s. We're all one big family of mugs knowing all each other. And Norwood would invite us to shows, invite Bronx South Bob and John O'Brien. Hey, man, you guys come check out the show. And, hey, man, we're going to go check out Fishbone. You want to go? And I would always pass. Like, nah, I'm cool. I'm all right. I'm good. But then when I saw them live the first time, I was like, holy shit. These are some bad brothers right here.
Yeah, dude.
I remember seeing them at the LA street scene years ago. And I was like, excuse my term, I was like, who are these niggas? You know? And watching the mosh pit going on and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, holy shit. Because I was actually at the street scene to check out the Bus Boys.
Yeah.
And Fishbone was playing at another stage, I think. And so the guy that was with me, no, man, you got to go check these guys out. And even then, I didn't spend a lot of time watching them. I don't know if it's because the Bus Boys were getting ready to play soon or they had played and I was ready to leave.
Right.
But yeah. Touring with them in the mid-90s, I always had this thing. And I'd say to myself, one day you're going to probably wind up playing with these guys. I just had a little feeling, just if nothing else, just guilty by association, you know?
Yeah, you were there. You were part of their circle. Because that's the thing, like, especially moving out, when I moved out to LA, what I started to notice is that it's an extended family, like the Fishbone thing and the crew and the people that, you know, used to work for the management company and the friends of the band. It's like, it's just, everybody fucking knows each other. Everyone's friends. They all hang out and, you know, go to the beach, get drinks. Like, and it seems like Norwood has
and we'd all like support each other, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, play guitar on this track. Hey, man, you play drums on this track. You know, that I'm doing on my solo project or whatever, you know?
Exactly. It seems like, go ahead.
As I used to call it, you know, because of the nutmeg tip, you know, Lonnie Marshall from Weapon of Choice and Norwood had this thing about nutmeg and the nutness and all that kind of shit. I was like, yeah, man, just part of the one big old can of mixed nuts.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and that's the thing too, is with so many band members, like a lot of times you hear people that they run a band and you hear how people don't get along after they're like not in the band anymore. It seems like with Norwood, like even if they're static, it seems like he finds a way to remain cool with people, like because people are in and out, and it's just this big revolving cast. So, like, I mean, even you, like when you stopped playing with Fishbone, you were jamming with Norwood, doing those Thursday night jams and all that shit, right?
Yeah. And you know, my thing when I left the band, it wasn't necessarily no personal differences.
Yeah.
It was just I had just grown fatigued and fed up with the way things were being run. You know?
Yeah, because it's tedious.
What's up, Greg? You know? And I also think, like, you know, I wasn't happy. It wasn't fun anymore. That's what I'm putting like that. It wasn't fun anymore. I started dreading having to go on tour. It just wasn't fun for me anymore. And you know, it's like where I'm not gonna sit around like trying to get out of town and just always hold ups. You know, just the way things were being done through management at the time. Just all of it. And then, you know, of course I was out there, you know, because I was not happy. I was partying more.
Yeah.
You know, and just trying to hurry up and get through the damn show and get it done with. So, you know, I was speeding songs up and just the whole dynamics of the thing, man. I was just like, you know what? We was in Vegas. I was spending more money on booking flights so I wouldn't have to deal with the frustration of, you know, everybody meet up here for departure. And everybody goes, yeah. And then we get there, you know, everybody, you know, we're all together to depart town, and somebody don't have their shit together, and we have to go pick them up. Or somebody's missing a flight. Or just stuff. And it's always the same players. So we were in Vegas. I took a flight in, realized that the band hadn't even made it to town yet. and they were supposed to have left like 7 hours ago from LA, and they still hadn't gotten there. Found out the reason why, and I was just done. So after we did that show, and then our tour manager at the time was being a total drunken jackass the night before, and we were getting ready to drive to basically Coachella, not to play the festival, but the city.
Yeah, Indio.
Yeah. And it's hot as blazes. And we're waiting around. The tour manager, Angelo, is up in his room, not where he's supposed to be. And the tour manager can't find the fucking keys to the van.
Oh, jeez.
And going through all this stuff. And then it turns out the tour manager had the keys in one of his other pockets all the whole time.
Oh, God, dude.
And so I just went to Norwood. I said, while we were waiting for all this, I just told the rest of the guys in the band, Walden, asking, like, why are you so pissed off? You've been pissed off for the past several days. And I expressed to him what I was feeling. I said, yeah, I think this is it. I think after this tour, I'm done. So I'm done. He says, well, just be sure to let Norwood know. And mind you, I had already heard that Fish had been wanting his job back for several years prior.
Oh, shit.
So, I wasn't really concerned about, I already knew that the spot would be filled, No shows up, I put him on the side of the band, and I just let him know, hey, man, I'm done after this tour, man. I can't do this anymore. And he was like, right on, appreciated me, and didn't try to talk me out of it or nothing like that. And in the midst of that, while we were trying to get out of town, once we get to the gas station, something took place in the van, a conversation. So this conversation is being held in the van. We're pulling to fuel up. And it wasn't involving me, but I kind of said something that made a lot of sense. And someone said to me, Stewart, John, you need to get the fuck out of here with that shit. And I said, oh? I said, you didn't say shit but a word. I grabbed my backpack and my stick bag, and there was a cab right there. And yelled some explicits to the people involved. I jumped in the cab and went to the airport. Paid $200-something to fly to LA from Vegas.
Yeah.
Got home. Girlfriend picked me up. She had heard about it, and I had calmed down a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I'll finish off the rest of the tour. And I called Norwood, and he said, well, no need. Fish is on his way. He said he'll do the Indio shows and the rest of the shows. And I was like, okay, well, fine, cool. So I had already booked a flight to go to Oakland. So I told my chick, well, fuck it, let's still go. I would love to see a fucking Fishbone show with Fish playing drums.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, shit. So I flew up Oakland, watched the show. It was great. I heard my girlfriend told me, like, well, babe, do you want to hang out with the fellas, And I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and, I'll go ahead and leave with you. We'll go back together. And I'm glad I did, because I heard the melee that took place after that show. I'm sure had I been there, I would have been a part of it.
Yeah. I have no idea what happened, but it doesn't sound good.
It wasn't good. The tour manager wound up getting knocked out by one of the crew members.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and there are certain displays of, how can I put it, basically immaturity, drunken immaturity among some of the members of, where I heard that from one of the other members that one security guards made a derogatory remark of like, now I know why this band has never made it big.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, I'm like, fuck, like what happened? And I heard what happened, some of the, motherfuckers pissing in flower pots, and just mainly the fights that took place and the damage that was done to the tour manager. When he hit the ground, he split his fucking wig.
Oh, damn.
And I heard another band member has almost got into a fight, not it being alcohol induced, because this member is totally straight edge, with a former bandmate, a guitarist in a band that he had worked in. I heard it was just like a shit show afterwards. And I was just like, wow. So.
Well, it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, this is why I'm not fucking with these guys right now, you know?
Yeah. Just because there just was too much, things just were not in order. Things need to be lined up. And I also thought, and there was this rumor that was circulating. It wasn't a rumor, but I kept hearing these things about them, like, getting the original lineup together. So I was just like, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bail before I'm asked to bail.
Right.
Fuck that. I've been kicked out of better joints than this, man. Fuck that shit. I'm out of here.
So what's the vibe now? That is it?
The vibe, it's like night and day, man. There's a lot of sobriety for those that were like out of control. They're sober. The personalities with Chris Dowd, who I've known, but I never like hung out with him. I've only worked with him once when Fishbone did this Pepsi commercial for the Super Bowl back, I think, 2013. And Chris paid, he's in that.
Yeah.
But Mark Phillips, I met Mark once. I thought he was Kendall. But there's a lot more professionalism going on. I mean, it is being ran like it should be. The last tour that I did, a lot of the grievance that I had, those issues had been fixed. Having the what's that app, a tour app? What is it called? It's this app they have now for touring, where basically tour manager puts in all the information you need. So that way you don't have to ask the tour manager no questions about shit. He can focus on his job,
Yeah, so the whole band can just look at the information on the app, right?
You don't have to call anybody, asking anybody anyone any questions, getting your per diems when you're supposed to get them. You don't have to wait and ask and beg for those, pull into town, you get to the hotel room, everything's in order. All you got to do is show your ID and a card for incidentals. You got your room. The crew goes to the venue, gets the band set up. The stage is all together and all that. You have a lobby time to get picked up. You go do your sound check. Sound check is organized. All the instruments are up and running and all that kind of stuff. You get all your stuff together. You do a song or a half of a song. Get back in the van. Go back to your hotel. And you sit there until showtime. Beautiful. That's
beautiful.
I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be. And the pay is better, too.
Well, it sounds like you came back at a good time, man.
I did, dude. I have no complaints, no gripes, none. And for myself, I'm not, the swilly willy that I've known to be. None of that rock and roll debauchery shit. It's like when you break up with someone you've been with for years and you've been separated from years and you guys decide to get back together. And you make the conscious effort to yourself, like, take responsibility in the role that you played in the demise of your relationship and not continue on that way.
That's mature. So, that's maturity, man.
I'm not drinking, but not like I used to. I still have a drink, here and there, but I'm not like nowhere the wet daddy that I used to be.
less wet daddy.
Yeah. No wet daddyisms. More of along Mr. Sprinkles, but no wet daddyisms. And, hey, Beebs. Here, shout out to my girl, Michelle Beebs.
What's up, Beebs?
for that moniker. Mr. Sprinkles.
That's beautiful.
And, you know, the stuff that would put me in a bad mood, you know, and you know, it used to be one of those guys used to drink and shit. You know, your attitude is just fucked up when you're hungover or burnt out, and you have no obligations. You don't feel like doing that. You want to go lay down. You want to eat. You don't feel like doing anything.
For real.
You know, so that also gives you a bad attitude, and your level of tolerance is diminished if you have any at all.
Yeah, when you feel like shit, you're really impatient, and you're kind of and I remember I was always mad at myself, and then I would just be pissed off at everyone around me on top of it because I was pissed at myself. You know, it's all bad.
Yeah. So, you know, I act like a fucking adult now. Finally, at fucking 90 years old. And, you know, I do the show. I go have my one little shot and one beer, and I'm off to the hotel, man. And no going to the after parties and all that, because I pretty much face it. I've been to all those parties already, you know. Nothing's going to go on there that I haven't seen going on before.
Right.
You know, I go home and go to the hotel room, man, and my own hotel room, not sharing rooms with anyone anymore, which is a beautiful thing. And nice quality hotels. Not staying at the Ritz-Carlton, but we're not staying at the Fleabag Inn either. So, you know.
Yeah, no Motel 6s. No America's Best.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. This is all good to hear, man. I'm stoked.
Everybody gets along. Everyone is respectful of others' opinions or whatever, you know. And it's just a different vibe. And I dig it.
That's beautiful. While I got you here, what can you say about the new recording stuff that's happening over at Fat Mike's?
They're going real good, man. You know, the usual stuff. You know, people want to hear their opinions are worthy of listening to. I personally, my process went very smoothly. I make it a point not to be around when others are doing their thing.
How many tracks are we thinking?
Well, as of now, we got 4, and there's possibility of maybe 2 more.
So like an EP?
Yeah, it's an EP. It's not a full-blown album. Yeah, it's an EP.
Is Mike going to put it out on his record label?
I believe so.
Yeah, dude, that's the shit. That's a punk rock label. That's, you know, to me, Fishbone, the spirit of the band is very punk. Like, we do what the fuck we want. We play all types of different music. No rules, you know? Yeah. So I'm with it. For the fact that y'all are doing something on Fat Rack is like, I'm excited. I'm stoked. What's it sounding like? Is it all over the place, or is it kind of like narrowed down?
It's actually kind of more poppy.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, because Chris is back, so he's a great songwriter.
And Mark Phillips as well.
Awesome.
You know, it's that stuff that the non-musician can dig because it's kind of a no-brainer and it's catchy. I think some fans might be like, "What the fuck is this?" But you know, it's kind of like, you know, like the Chili Peppers were before Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic.
Like Mother's Milk era kind of thing?
Yeah, but I'm talking about that transition that the band made.
Yeah.
Going from that to Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and then some of their later records also like Californication. Compare Californication to Mother's Milk or something previous to Mother's Milk. It's like, and people say, well, I liked them better back then. They were more raw back then.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, they were more raw back then. But the gig is, it's called the music business, you know?
Yeah.
So you can make the rawest shit in the world, but if you want to play the empty houses, fuck it, go for it.
Yeah, because I feel like Crazy Glue was pretty raw, you know? Like that EP, that had like a real, like, I want to punch you in the mouth kind of vibe, don't you think?
Yeah. I'll say some songs, but I also think about what was going on with the band internally during that time, you know? with the potential of a member or two I'll do it this way, or I'll take my ball and go home.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but
well, there's been like internal threats of, we don't play this song, then I'm not doing this, I'm not going to do that. There were some tours that were canned because of basically temper tantrums. I'm not doing this because we didn't play my song. We didn't record my song.
Oh, geez. But that's not going down anymore. It's like everyone's.
That's what I mean. Take my ball and go home.
Right.
Like the kid on the playground. Let me or let me go. Let me take another turn, or I'm gonna take my ball and I'm gonna go home. If you don't let me have my way.
Yeah, it's weird being in a band because you dealing with people's egos, and you run into situations where it's a bunch of adults acting like kids sometimes. I mean, I've seen it a million fucking times, and even in my group, it's wild, dude.
Yeah, a lot of those elements are gone now. I mean, some of them are still there due to the fact that there's individuals that are still there, but they've also matured a lot since the 5 years that I've been out. I don't question why or what. I'm just glad that it is.
Beauty.
Again, a lot of it has to do with, substance, For a lot of people, sobriety is the best way to go.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of artists and, music type, creative people, I feel like we're all addicts when it comes down to it. Like most of us, most of the weird people I meet, we're all addicted to some shit.
Right.
Or dealing with some sort of demons, whether it's our past, addicted to this, or it's, just we like our shit, us weirdos.
Well, listen, Neil, I don't mean to cut you short, bro.
It's about time.
But I got this show I'm playing with Weapon of Choice Friday. And supposed to be like sold out show at the Mint. I got to practice. I got a rehearsal tonight, and I got to do me some practicing before I go to such that rehearsal.
Yeah, do you? I appreciate your time, man. I'm really glad you're able to do this. Tell Lonnie I said I don't know if Lonnie remembers me, but tell Lonnie I said what up.
He will.
Are you playing with? So you're playing drums for Weapon of Choice?
On this show, yes.
Beautiful.
Man, I'm playing the fucking kazoo, man.
I ask dumb questions sometimes. But hey, I appreciate the update, and I'm glad things are going well, and I appreciate your time, and I'll edit this together. We should have done the whole fucking interview with you sitting right where you're sitting, because it's beautiful now. God damn it.
Yeah, I know.
But so I guess plug anything you want to plug. We already talked about like the new EPs. When is it going to drop, you think?
I'm not sure, but I think our touring schedule is going to be picking up at the end of summer. So hopefully we'll be coming through Detroit and Midwest and East Coast real soon around that time. We're going to be pretty busy. We're going to Japan in August. We have some sporadic dates, I think late July with P-Funk.
Beauty.
I believe. And we have a show in October with Cypress Hill at the Palladium.
Dope.
And we'll see what else the nutness brings us.
the mixed bag of nuts. So it's on.
Mr. Planners has stored for us.
So it's on. Hey, John, man, thanks, dude. Thanks for being here.
Right on.
And have a good day. And I'll let you know when this I'll put this up on the internet. Fishbone.
Yeah, let me tell Allie I said what's up.
I will. Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, have a good one. Peace, dude.
Later.
Later, dude. Hey, do you like this video? Do you want to see more stuff like it? Well, consider being a patron of my Patreon page, patreon.com/Neil P. If you pledge monthly, you get some perks, you get some exclusive content, and you get to help stuff like this get made on the monthly. Yo, check it out.